Hey everybody, it's Trey Bolin, and I'm your host for the Origin Stories. Here we talk about startups, fresh starts, reinventions, revolutions, pivots, and I'm super excited for my guest today, Maureen Kimmel. If you don't know, this is my mom, and I'm super excited to interview her and talk a little bit about her journey as an entrepreneur. So, Mom, let's talk about how it all began. When did you start your entrepreneur journey?
Actually, when you and your brother were just probably 1 and 3 years old, I started with crafts, which is a lot of people, a lot of women, I think, might do that. And I actually grew roses and dried the rose petals and then put a scent on them. And I was selling potpourri at farmers markets. And this is going to go back about 42 years ago.
Well, you had your start a really long time ago when I was just a blink in your eye. So 42 years. So I know that that was the beginning crafts, but there was a time where you kind of shifted into something a little bit different. And I think it's really interesting because it was before Pinterest, before Martha Stewart was doing anything. And I just think what you came up with was so original and interesting. And I wanted you to share that with my listeners.
Well, are you talking about the craft classes that I
Yes,
taught in the
yes, I
basement?
am.
Okay, that is a long time ago. Okay, so I attended this craft class and we made Christmas wreaths out of pine cones. And it was with a metal frame, about 14, 15 inches diameter. And so the woman who I went to her house to make one, she was going to get out of the business. And I thought, hey, maybe I could do that. So that's what I did. She gave me a lot of her supplies. I bought some of the things that she had to buy. But I mean, how cool is this? We went under pine trees and picked up the materials that I would use. Now, it was interesting because I had to come home and bake them because I didn't want bugs
I
to
didn't even
come
think
out
about that.
of hibernation and crawl on people's walls, right? So yeah, it was quite a process, but it was something I could do at home with little kids. And yeah, so that actually, it went from the rose petals to the pine cones, and then I did do some different things too, as far as crafts with flowers. But yeah, so that's how it started like 42 years ago.
And I know that you caught that entrepreneur bug or spirit, that you picked that up from grandpa, and
Truly.
dad's also an entrepreneur. So it kind of seems like it's a legacy thing.
Yeah. So my dad worked at Ford's. He was a finished carpenter, and he did built finished homes. Actually, he didn't build them. He finished new homes back in the 60s. And so he got a job at Ford Motor Company as the carpenter, as a plant carpenter. But here's what happened. He was very skilled. And so he installed dishwashers in people's homes at night. So he'd work at Ford's in the day, then come home and he'd go to work again. And I think it took him 2 days to do a built-in dishwasher, because you have to remember back in the 60s,
Hmm.
our homes didn't have dishwashers. They didn't come built in. So he would come in and have the skills to cut the cabinets and go ahead and do all what was needed. So yeah, he had his little entrepreneur thing going back as a second job when I was a little girl.
The ingenuity of the American dream of, okay, I'm going to have a day job, but maybe I could do something on the side. I know a
Yeah.
lot of my followers and listeners are side hustle people. They're people that are doing their main thing and got a side thing going. I think it's really exciting and encouraging to hear that this side hustle thing isn't new. It's something that has kind of always been.
Yeah.
We're just calling it something new, right?
You just have to have a little bit of think outside the box. He went to an appliance store, my dad did, and gave them the idea, right? Let me help you sell the dishwashers, because you can tell your customers you've already got somebody that's skilled that can do the carpentry work and install it.
And a referral. You know,
Yeah.
he was working a referral, he was working networking and relationships. And that's the main thing that I
Yeah.
wanted to share with my listeners is I feel like I am who I am because of you. And I don't have a box of Kleenexes, but I really learned a lot about relationship building because that was
Mm,
what you saw your dad do. That's what you do. So when
yeah.
you were ready to pivot into something different, what happened during that next pivot? Why did you feel the need to shift from the crafting?
Okay, so now you have to understand that there was probably 10 or 15 years in between. And I had neurosurgery on my back, so I had limitations. I couldn't do certain things, lifting and that sort of thing, but I still had the desire and the need to make extra income, to be able to help out. It was the vacations, it was the violin lessons, it was the piano
Mhm,
lessons, it was
mhm.
everything that you kids wanted that maybe we were just a little short on. So those were things that I thought that I maybe could make a difference. And so I had gone to a Pampered Chef show in 1989, right? And now
Wow.
the crafts we were talking about would have been in the early 80s, late 70s. And so now we're going to fast forward to 89. I go to a Pampered Chef party. I fell in love with everything. My kitchen was in bad need. Most of my tools were rusted, melted, or warped. So I
Right?
really did need some new things in the kitchen. So, but I had a budget of about $10. And
Mm,
so I had a party, and it was a huge success. I just filled my kitchen with all kind of free tools, and so that was kind of the seed planted. But I'm just coming off of back surgery,
oh, yeah.
and so there's no way that I could look at carrying anything into homes and doing
Mm,
parties. And
mm.
so, no, but I waited 5 years
Wow.
and got healing right in my body, and of course then I had two more children, and now we're up to
Just
five
wait till you have
kids.
more children to start your next business.
Yeah,
If you're
so
wondering what
now
the sign is, it's just make more babies.
but what happened was the need increased. The
Right.
need increased.
Right.
So now, you're old enough now that you could help.
Mhm.
So I thought, well, I'm going to give this a try. Now, I didn't like to get up in front of people. In fact, in high school, I would actually take an E anytime there was oral presentations to get up in front of the class. I just couldn't do it. I would get all sweaty and tongue tied, and I just couldn't do it. So I thought, how am I going to do this Pampered Chef thing, get up in front of people and cook? And I thought, well, here's the thing. I'm just going to try, right? I'm going to try. And if
Mhm.
I fail, well, so I got a bunch of cool stuff for my kitchen. And so
Right?
my mom, bless her heart, my mom was my first party. She said yes. I was so grateful. And I made it through without getting sick. But I will share something that I haven't told too many people. When you're nervous, you talk fast and
Yes.
you do things fast. So I
Yes.
was making a cool veggie pizza. So I had to peel carrots. She found carrot peelings on the lampshade because I was so fast. Those, they were flying. So anyway, that
I
was kind of
I
funny,
feel
but
like the moral of the story is if you're afraid, just do it anyway, right?
just do, oh, absolutely.
Do it
Just do
scared.
it. Do it scared. Do it scared. And so, there was about a half a dozen people there, and it was great. I did have fun, and my cousin was there, and she said, "Hey, I think I would like you to do this at my party, or have a party for me." So I did. And my second party was $1,000. And
Oh my
now I got to
goodness.
tell you, I'm going back to 1994 now. That's when I actually joined.
Uh-huh.
So
Right?
to have $1,000 party in 1994,
Mm.
we're going 30 years ago, was absolutely mind just boggling. So I just thought, okay, here I'm off and running. And that's exactly what happened. That was 30 years ago, 3,000 parties ago, and all of the successes that came with it because I just never gave up.
Mm.
I have a sign and it says never, never, never give up. It's above my door. Never give up. never give up. There's always, even when I have had things that didn't turn out so good, I still learned something from it,
Mm.
you know.
So, what do you think would be your biggest piece of advice to someone who is standing at that gateway of having to make a huge decision, a pivot, right? Right where you were all those years ago, like, okay, I have this opportunity. Now what?
Well, just do it. You know, like we just said,
Yeah.
just do it. Make a plan.
Okay. Okay.
Make a plan. You know, you got to have a plan. So I made a list of all the people that I was going to ask to
Oh,
have one of those first parties for me. So you got to have a plan. Who are you going to approach? What are you going to do next? And here's something that was just, it it made such a difference. Every night before I went to bed, I made a list of what were the top 10 things I needed to do the next day. And kind of in category of the first being the most important, because with a mom of 5 kids, a busy house, I never knew what the next day was going to take. I mean, I thought I knew, but sometimes you
right.
don't know, right? With emergencies and
Yeah.
whatever's happening. So having that list, when things got crazy, I could go back to that list and look at it and say, okay, back on track. Here's
Right.
what I got to do for today.
Right. And I think that's the best advice to give anybody as they're starting out, because so many times you have so much on your plate and you don't know what to do. And you're trying to
Yeah.
sift through it all. And if you have a get it done list, if you have a here's everything I accomplished list, I mean, there's nothing more satisfying than checking it off
Yes, I'm just going to say that, putting that check mark next to it.
because you actually got something done,
Yeah.
but then it's
Yeah.
helping you to prioritize too. Okay.
Okay.
Do you still do that? Even that you're not a
Yes.
busy mom anymore.
Yes.
You're in grandma land.
Yes. Yes, I do. I do. And here's something that I want to make sure that I relate to, and that is, I'm in a book club, and there's a bunch of us pampered chefers that read books, and then on Wednesday at 2:30 we chat for a half hour about what we read, and then we have 3 more, or how
That's
many every
awesome.
chapter. Okay.
Accountability, right?
Accountability. Here's the book that we're just finishing reading. I bought 6 of them for my grandkids because I want all the oldest ones to have them for their birthdays this year.
Okay.
And it is Make Your Bed by the Admiral. I should have
Okay.
had one here by me.
Simple. Simple.
I mean, if you haven't heard of the book called Make Your Bed, am I saying it right? Make Your Bed?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. I went on Amazon, and they were 2 for $20, and I just bought them because it teaches you that when you have one task in the morning and it's make your bed, you've accomplished one thing.
Yes.
One thing.
And you can check it off, and it's going to empower you to take on the next.
Yes. Yes. So anyway, that it's been very instrumental, and we just started reading it, but I think it's back to those making the lists and giving the satisfaction of doing the check mark.
So I've got a question. What do you think your superpower is? I think I have a guess, but
Oh, I know what it is. Relation building.
yes, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's what I learned from you. And why? Why is that important in business? Not just network marketing, not just MLM stuff, but in
I
business. Why?
I have no stranger. Right?
Yep.
This would crack me up, but I was a speaker a few times with Pampered Chef, and so it's being in the supermarket, in the grocery store, and going up to the cantaloupe, the melons, and squeezing them, and then have somebody else come back up next to you. I say, I just learned how to pick out a good melon. Have you heard about this? Right? I'm building those relationships with
Yes.
strangers, because remember, back in the day, 30 years ago, when I started this, we didn't even have email.
Right. I know.
So, there was.
I remember I would type up your newsletters and we'd mail them.
Yes.
Mail
Yeah.
them to people.
Yes. Yes. So you had to go out of your way to meet people. And when you think that what you have to offer is life changing, which I know Pampered Chef can be life changing, the tools, right?
Yeah.
Because so many people don't cook and they just eat out at fast foods and
Yes.
junk,
It's
and
getting worse.
it's getting worse. It is. They need to learn how to cook. They need to know just a few. So I had a recipe, and you actually helped me do this. Put on a postcard as when I meet people, and it's the egg roll in a bowl. It's 3 ingredients. It's ready in
Yes.
10 minutes. It's healthy. There's no carbs. It's absolutely fabulous. And I carry those with me in my purse, and I give them out to everybody, even today.
And I think the thing that I love the most about what you're saying is you're adding value to people's lives. You're not
Yes.
worried about the paycheck. You know
Mm-mm.
that when you add value, it will come around to you. Not that we believe in karma, because we don't. We're all about Jesus and God here. But that's why I love Bob Burg's The Go Giver book. If you haven't read it yet, you've got to check it out. It's super short, but that's one of the things that he says as a business owner, as just a person, we should always be seeking to add value, because when we
Yes.
add value, it will come around to you.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I don't look at what you can do for me. It's what can I do for you?
Exactly. Exactly. And if we all have that heart to serve,
Mm.
it's a difference maker.
Yeah,
It's life changing.
it
Now, I
is.
think we have to be careful in today's world not to get burnt out, not to just, constantly be pouring out. We also have to have people pouring into our cups. And there's great ways to do that. Like you said, book reading, relationships,
Yeah.
cooperative groups, that ways that you can be accountable and in community. My favorite is Serious.net. But there's those relationship building activities. So it's not just you outpouring, but people also pouring into you. So I've got another question. What do you think has been the biggest influence in your life?
Oh, well, probably Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
you know?
that's it. Bottom line.
Um, and years ago, we actually went knocking on people's doors, to share. And I think that also gave me the ability not to be afraid to talk to anybody. And if people they didn't want to talk, they shut the door. That's okay. And so it was just who's next.
Yeah. And I think when you're passionate about something, that's going to propel you forward. So even when you do have fear, you're always going forward, because we can fail forward, right? What if we don't go forward? We stop in our tracks, and then we just plop backwards, right? But there is a way to keep going, small increments, even in fear. So you have been an entrepreneur for 42 years. What do you think is the biggest thing you've learned?
Oh goodness. Probably, I don't know. Don't give up and enjoy the moment.
Oh, I
Enjoy the
love that.
moment. I mean, because that's probably something that we do forget about, is to have fun.
Yes.
Whatever you
Yes.
do, have fun.
Right. And I think so many times we get really busy and we're doing the thing and we're in the work and we don't enjoy those moments. Thank you for reminding us to enjoy those moments. I'm
Okay.
really excited about the conversation that we have. I think a lot of people, it's going to really resonate and encourage them. I do have a question. How can people find you? What's the best way to get connected?
Probably my website, because there's so much there that they could look around at. And there is a button that says contact me, so they could send an email through my website. But that's www.pamperedchef.biz /Maureen K Maureenk.
And we'll put that in the show notes. Is there anything else that people should look for you on social media? What's the best place for people to find you on social media?
Well, you can contact me through my Maureen's Recipe Share group.
Great.
And I post recipes and tips and tricks. And I encourage people to do that as well. And yeah, there it is.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mom. I'm so glad you joined us. We might have to have you back on again because I was so encouraged and I was like trying not to cry at different points. But as always, we hope that you'll subscribe to the channel and come back for more interviews and origin stories. Thanks for joining us, guys. Bye.
Thanks for having me.